Hello, my name is Robert Cost, and I'm the principal attorney with General Counsel Online, an online, on-demand legal service offering subscription-based, fixed-price affordability. General Counsel Online produces LAWGORITHMs, which simplify business decision-making about legal matters. LAWGORITHMs are designed to help the business person think clearly and logically about everyday legal issues, and by so doing, make better business decisions. This LAWGORITHM addresses an issue of central concern to many businesses that use or adopt open source software, either internally or as part of their own published software. I'll give you the short version in this video, but if you'd like a more detailed white paper or a presentation version, I'll provide a link toward the end of this video. You ready? Let's go. If you are in software engineering, e-commerce, or business IT, you know that open source software, or OSS, is everywhere. It's in 99% of all commercial code bases across all major industries, and it makes up over 70% of all the code in those code bases. The OSS license is legally enforceable and based on copyright law rather than just contract law. This means that an OSS licensor can enjoin or halt distribution of their software by order of a federal court if they prevail. So, it's important to pay attention to OSS whether you're a developer, product manager, or involved in the operations of your business. Here is a map of the territory that we're about to cover. It's a flowchart depicting a simple logic for making decisions about open source software. The boxes indicate processes or analyses, and the diamonds are decisions that you will make along the way to adopting or using open source in your own software. But before you do anything else, you should really assess your own requirements and the benefits of using OSS to fulfill them. If OSS doesn't fulfill your business's requirements, or if the benefits don't exceed its downsides, you can exit the analysis now. But please keep watching this video. However, if the code does what you need it to do, and if it's a free alternative to building or buying, which comes with its own source code so you can maintain and modify it, you may want to go on to the next step. Here's a threshold question. Are you distributing the code or just using it? If you're not distributing the code, the conditions of the license are not triggered and you have no legal obligations. Distribution means that you are publishing, disseminating, or propagating copies of the code to third parties. Distribution generally excludes and does not mean use by employees, cloud storage of the code, or use in SaaS services or dissemination to wholly owned subsidiaries. And again, if there's no distribution, you can exit the analysis now, but keep watching the video. Let's say that you are distributing the OSS. The next step is to inquire what type of license governs the OSS. If it's a permissive license, such as the MIT or BSD license, you can use, modify, and distribute either source or binary code. Your only obligation is to include attribution to the author and the author's copyright notice and any disclaimers of warranties and limitations on liabilities the author may have penned. If your license is a permissive one, you can stop the analysis now, so long as you fulfill these simple conditions. But please keep watching. If the license is instead a so-called copyleft license, the analysis turns on how you are distributing the OSS. It may be as derivative code, which is code modified by a licensee, as integrated code, which mixes copyleft protected OSS and third-party code together, or as aggregated code, in which copyleft protected OSS code is merely packaged with third-party code. First, derivative code. Derivative code is OSS code together with any modifications you may have made to it. Distribution of derivative code must be free of charge and accompanied by the source code. The author's license terms cannot be changed and will be passed on to your downstream recipient. You cannot impose any restrictions on the exercise of the license that you convey to the downstream recipient. For example, you're not permitted to forbid the downstream recipient from modifying the code even if you've made derivative works, or from making copies or distributing it. Aggregated code, on the other hand, refers to code comprised of separate and distinct programs which remain separate and distinct in distribution and use. The OSS code is included in the same repository or archive as other third-party code, perhaps your own, and merely made available or distributed to third parties as discrete packages. Lastly, integrated code is code that is sufficiently bound to OSS code as to form a single derivative work in which the two code bases are inseparable. Integrated code causes the whole derivative work, including your code, to be subject to copyleft license terms. Whether integrated code constitutes a single derivative work depends on the way integration is accomplished. Since code is highly distributed these days and integration APIs are everywhere, what exactly is integration code for purposes of copyleft? A useful way to think about this may be as a continuum between aggregations on the one hand and compositions on the other. An aggregation is a collection of individuals without a whole-part relationship among members of the collection, like a dozen eggs. A composition, on the other hand, is a mixture in which members do have a whole-part relationship among them, like an engine is the whole of its parts composed of pistons, cams, cylinders, gaskets, and the like. The closer that two code bases get to being a composition, the more likely they are to be regarded as a single derivative work, subject to the copyleft license terms. You can see here where the Free Software Foundation has determined the line in the sand that it would draw with respect to what constitutes a derivative work. Compliance with OSS licenses can be of extreme importance to your business, and it becomes increasingly complex as businesses use more and more OSS. If a licensor believes that you have breached the conditions of their license, they can withdraw the license from you, they can bring an action for damages, or they can enjoin you from distributing or using their and potentially your software. A perhaps more likely consequence is that you end up breaching warranties that you've made to your customers or investors, causing you to scramble to address the problem. A large client gig or an essential Series A investment may be jeopardized by a bad license situation. And finally, reputation risk is something you might want to consider as well. You and your company simply don't want to be stigmatized for an oversight in managing your OSS code. If you would like a white paper version of this presentation, please navigate to the above URL. Bear in mind that this presentation is not legal advice. Everything depends on the actual license that you're dealing with and on the way you're using and distributing the software. So please consult your own attorney before proceeding. And if you do not have an attorney, please consider general counsel online if you are a Pennsylvania company. We hope this has been a useful presentation to you. I look forward to your inquiries, which can be made easily at General Counsel Online, which is at generalcounsel, all one word, .online. Look forward to communicating with you soon, and thank you for your attention.